Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Ladder Up FAFSA Video Series. The goal of this video series is to take some of the mystery and potential confusion out of the financial aid process. In this video, we'll take a high-level look at what the FAFSA is, what information you'll be asked to provide, deadlines you should be aware of, and some other helpful tips and tricks to consider when it comes to securing financial aid. So what is the FAFSA? FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Aid, and it's incredibly important because completing this form is the only way to get any kind of federal financial aid, including Pell Grants, work study programs, and federal student loans. Also, you often need to file the FAFSA to qualify for state and institutional aid, such as scholarships. So the FAFSA is a pretty big deal, and while there are sites out there that will happily charge you money to fill it out for you, this is something that you can do yourself. And this video series is here to actually help make it easier for you to do just that. The FAFSA form is found at fafsa.ed.gov, and we'll actually walk through it together in the other videos in this FAFSA video series. So you're probably wondering, what am I going to find on this form? Or what exactly am I going to be putting into it? What colleges are looking for is a better sense of the family's resources and how much they can pay towards college. The general process or rubric with financial aid is what can the family afford first, and then after that, what federal funds might be available and what school funds might be available. So this is very much an income-driven form. And they're going to look at who lives where the student lives, who lives in that household, what are the resources of the folks in that household. As a student, this might not be information that you know or have easy access to. So this form is really going to be a combination of the student working with a parent or parents. There is a part on the form that's specifically for the student, and the student will fill that out to document any money that they've made, savings they have, and so forth. And then there's another part of the form that is for the parent or parents living in that house. Whoever has the income in that house, they're going to look at that information as well. So there's a fair amount of detail when it comes to the level of information required for the FAFSA form, but there are some steps that you can take to make filling it out easier. First, it's important to note that the Education Department estimates it takes applicants less than an hour to fill out and submit the FAFSA, so do not be intimidated. At the same time, you should be aware that it will take you longer if you're not prepared for the process with all required documentation and tax information. Before you fill out the FAFSA, get all documents together to make the process easier. U.S. citizens typically will need their social security number, driver's license number, and tax and income records. Use the FAFSA checklist to determine exactly what it is you'll need. Families should use their prior year tax information to complete the FAFSA instead of the prior year's tax information, especially if things haven't changed dramatically in your family's financial situation. So in other words, use the 2019 tax information to complete the 2021-22 form. This allows you to file the FAFSA before filing your previous year's taxes. Most colleges will want the FAFSA filled out and turned into them probably somewhere between February 1st and the middle of March. And I want to stress here that these are the deadlines that colleges have, and it's incredibly important to meet these deadlines. This may sound a bit extreme, but meeting the financial aid deadline may be equally, if not more important than meeting the admissions deadline. The reason for this is that most schools have a limited amount of money, and they're going to use that money based on the students that they admit and the forms those students have turned in. In some states, financial aid is dispersed on a rolling basis. So if you wait until after you find out you've been admitted and then you send in the forms, the school may have already awarded most or all of the money that they have available. So really try your best to stay on top of these financial aid deadlines. To be considered for federal student aid for the 2021-22 award year, you can complete a FAFSA from between October 1st, 2020 and June 30th, 2022. While you can file the 2021-2022 FAFSA as late as June 2022, there are state and college deadlines you should definitely be aware of. Now you've completed the FAFSA, so what happens next? After a brief celebratory dance, here's what you can expect. Your completed FAFSA will be used as part of a formula that crunches numbers associated with your family's resources and spits out something called an EFC, or Estimated Family Contribution. The EFC number is what colleges will use to help them put together a financial aid package. So all the EFC number says is, based on a government formula, this is how much we think the family can contribute to their son or daughter's education. There's obviously a bit more methodology that goes into creating that formula, but for the sake of this video, I'm simplifying a bit. So here's an example of the EFC in action. You submit your FAFSA, the numbers are crunched, and you learn that your estimated family contribution is $10,000. The school financial aid office will then say, well, our school's tuition is $50,000, and if the family can pay $10,000, we're going to have to put together a financial aid package of $40,000 in order to make it possible for this student to attend our college or university. Your estimated family contribution will be included in something you get back called a SAR, or Student Aid Report. The SAR is a collection of the information you entered into the FAFSA. It also includes your EFC number. It will be sent to the schools that you've indicated it should be sent to when you filled out the school selection portion of the FAFSA. Again, we'll talk about this in a little bit. One important thing to be aware of is that you can only put 10 schools on the list. So if you're going to apply to more than 10 schools, you'll have to remember to go back into the FAFSA at a later date so you can take out some of those schools and put other ones on to make sure that everybody, all the schools that you're applying to, have the information that they need. A typical financial aid package that a school puts together is going to probably have 3 pieces to it. There's going to be scholarships and grant money, which is good. That's money that you don't have to pay back. There's going to be loans. Loans will be something that you'll have to pay back over a period of time. And there will probably be a work-study job. And that's a job that you have during the school year, probably somewhere between 8 to 10 hours, maybe upwards of 20 hours, depending on the school. That's money that you'll make during the school year. Remember that all students should file the FAFSA. Even if you think your parents make too much money for you to qualify, still file for the FAFSA. And again, that's because not all financial aid is based on need. For example, you could qualify for a merit scholarship that requires the FAFSA to be on file. So that concludes this introductory FAFSA video. I'm sure you still have questions and or wonderings about the FAFSA application and process. Don't worry, we hope to address all of your questions throughout the remainder of our FAFSA video series. Check out our video on setting up your FAFSA user account next. Thanks so much for watching.